With players spending hundreds of hours on Satisfactory building epic assembly lines, you'd be forgiven if you didn't know that there was a story in this game. And to be fair, the story always takes a back seat to the main gameplay, and that was an intentional choice by the developers.
Our goal for the narrative of Satisfactory is that we don't want it to take sort of center stage, and we don't want it to be disruptive.
The story is actually cut down quite a bit from its initial idea, much to the disappointment of players who do want to know more about that part of the game. Hey, I'm Satisfactory News, and I'll be your lore guide today, because in this video, I'm going to explain the story and world building of Satisfactory as detailed yet concisely as I can. So be warned that there are spoilers for Satisfactory in this video, obviously. I'll be talking about the end of the game and so much more. Before I get started, I do want to give a shout out to the channel Sen's Storyforge, because as far as I can tell, they have done the most in-depth lore videos on this game, and a lot of what I'm saying here can also be found in their videos. I did watch those videos to see if I'd missed anything, but I wrote the bulk of this script before even knowing that they existed. My aim was not to copy something that already exists, but to add additional perspective. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you do, I recommend checking out Sen's Storyforge. I'll have a link in the description. Planetfall. Your story starts not all that different from one of Satisfactory's inspirations, Subnautica. You fall to the planet in some sort of dropship surrounded by the heat of planetary re-entry. On your way down, you get a brief introduction to who you are and why you're here, which is the largest concentration of lore you'll get for quite a while. So let's break down all of the important information that you hear in this first cutscene. First, you learn that you were separated from a main transport and that you're part of Group 8, having been delivered to the Callistian region, and that all pioneers have been dispersed. So right away, you know you're in some faraway star system, you seem to be called a pioneer, and there's more like you. You're also introduced to Ada, the artificial directory and assistants, your personal AI. She then introduces FICSIT Incorporated and the Save the Day program. Throughout this onboarding, you learn what a pioneer actually is. Part engineer, part explorer, and most importantly, an employee of the FICSIT Corporation. You then learn the planet you're currently falling towards is Massage 2ABB in the Akasha system. Oh, and Ada gets interrupted by a strange voice that pierces through the message, but she doesn't seem to notice.
Stay within your designated. And that is why the world is counting on pioneers like you.
Just ignore that for now. I'll talk about it more in part 2 of this series. So, that's a lot of information all at once, and you'd be forgiven for not retaining all of it upon playing the game for the first time. But it tells us a lot of explicit and implicit things about our employer and our situation. First of all, FICSIT immediately comes across as either unreliable or careless, given the fact that your parachute fails, twice, and the fact that one of their slogans is apparently
short-term solutions to long-term problems.
But on the bright side, despite that, it seems like you and your other pioneers in Group 8 survived the descent, and you were the third to land. That seems okay, right? Well, we'll see. So let's start by talking about the Pioneer and FICSIT in a bit more detail based on additional information that we get from the game, and even some information from the developers outside of that. The Pioneer. You play as a Pioneer, just another cog in the machine at FICSIT. She is no one special, really. In fact, we don't even know her name, though there is evidence that it might be Becky or Monica, based on the defaced poster in the hub, but it may also be Samantha, Andrea, or Karen, based on a tweet by the developers. These are possibly names of multiple different pioneers, and hints at, but does not confirm, that all pioneers are women.
Main character or whatever, if you can call it that, we wanted it to be a woman. So we tried making this mainstream kind of game character, good looking, skinny, coolish. But we wanted it her to be more industrial. This mix between industrial and sci-fi is a main thing with the character, I guess.
Why is it a woman?
Why is it a woman? Why is it guys in every other game? What? That's a weird question. Why shouldn't it be a woman?
But all pioneers must prove their dedication to the job by legally changing their name to Pioneer. But of course, that doesn't mean that all pioneers in a multiplayer session can't have a little individuality among themselves, hence all the different names. But to even further dehumanize employees, your character's email address is employee.05192.83.3845.710.8.192b@fixit.biz. indicating a potentially massive number of generic, nameless employees working here. FICSIT. FICSIT Corporation is an Earth-based company, but their efforts seem to span the entire galaxy, not just the planet you now find yourself on. They specialize in research, development, and application of new technology and science, short-term solutions to long-term problems. So basically they're irresponsible and are more concerned with near-term profits than anything else.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Good thing this isn't based on reality, right? That'd be crazy if business actually worked that way. Yet somehow FICSIT was chosen or volunteered for or saw some sort of profit in the Save the Day program, which sends pioneers to alien planets to harvest resources and contribute to Project Assembly, which will help save the human race. Somehow.
The largest united undertaking in human history, destined to save us all. Earth is in peril and only FICSIT pioneers offer hope for survival. FICSIT is counting on you. Humanity is counting on you.
It's unclear the current status of FICSIT or who is running it, but a notable CEO was Katarina Parks, after whom the material Caterium is named. And Ada seems quite fond of her.
The metal has been named Caterium after FICSIT's greatest CEO, Katarina Parks.
Some other employees are also mentioned. A notable one of these is Marie Somerville, co-founder of FICSIT and head of its R&D department. She found the planet Massage during a planet spotting event, so you can thank her for ending up here. She's also the namesake for the Sommer Sloop, one of the strange artifacts that you'll find on the planet. There are some unnamed engineers mentioned, including one who heroically gave their lives to test equipment like the Xenobasher. We also learn around Fixmas time that FICSIT even employs fun engineers. However, the first generation of fun engineers went to jail, and the second were sued, so it really makes you question what kind of fun they were actually working on. But FICSIT isn't only focused on short-term benefits. They have a few other tenets as well. These include cost-effectiveness, efficiency, and avoiding waste, which you'll exemplify to varying degrees while working on your factory. Safety, I would say, is not one of their top priorities. All throughout the onboarding stage, Ada will reference amnesia, nosebleeds, nausea, existentialism, itchy scalps, and anxiety. Plus, your lack of ability and propensity for making mistakes are constantly brought up by Ada, and she is frequently condescending, ostensibly to motivate you into proving her wrong.
Phase 5 contains technology the human brain cannot comprehend.
But not to worry, FICSIT isn't some evil corporation. They care about you. You get a yearly bonus, though it seems there are many ways for your bonus to get reduced or cancelled altogether.
Fueling the biomass burner with inappropriate materials will result in deductions or even cancellation of your yearly bonus.
Plus, if you work hard enough, you can even become Employee of the Month, or, get this, Employee of the Planet, and you even get a special mug if you do that. They listen to their pioneers, even when they're not aware. They watch your dreams, and they make them come to life. Hey, maybe FICSIT isn't so bad after all. Save the Day program. The Save the Day program is the largest united undertaking in all of human history, with the goal to save not only humanity, but all of Earth itself, and everything on it, including, most importantly, kittens and puppies.
It is statistically likely that you appreciate the continued existence of kittens and/or puppies.
Your assignment to Massage is just a part of this larger goal. And it's actually a somewhat unclear goal that you receive at the start of the game and then don't question. You get the vague idea that Earth is in some kind of peril, and the only thing that can save it is working towards finishing Project Assembly by sending parts up the space elevator. Again, how this is going to help is a little unclear until you're nearly done, but whatever, that's above your pay grade. As you progress, you get the impression that time is of the essence. In fact, despite the fact that other pioneers were launched with you, it seems like the entire project is on your shoulders. What's up with that? Well, it seems like the Save the Day program might be going a little worse than you thought, all thanks to FICSIT's short-term thinking and lack of safety measures. Those other pioneers that launched with you from Group 8, yeah, they didn't make it. As you explore beyond your landing zone, you'll discover crash sites still smoldering. And in some caves, you'll even find the remains of other pioneers. Whether their pods didn't make it safely to the surface, or they were unable to survive the wildlife and natural hazards of this planet, they're gone, and you are all that's left to save the human race. As you approach the final stages of Project Assembly, Ada starts telling you some interesting things. That FICSIT underestimated your ability. That FICSIT didn't think pioneers would get this far. Then, just when you were thinking that you were the only one, Ada says that other pioneers such as
83CKY and U531355 had already completed Project Assembly by this point.
meaning that perhaps you are one of many, and not the first at all. In fact, the average pioneer succeeds at saving the day even. After all, you were part of Group 8. Presumably, Groups 1 through 7 already harvested other planets and contributed to save the day. So either Ada is hyping up the Pioneer with a sense of limited time, or you are the final step in the process. You definitely get some mixed messaging. I don't think Ada's the most reliable boss here. Anything that she says, it should be assumed is being said to motivate you to work harder, whether it's the truth or not. But one thing she does tell you that seems to be true is that this goes beyond just Earth. What you're doing affects the entire universe. Whatever is threatening Earth is threatening all of existence, it seems. Though Ada does make a few references to the disaster being human-caused, which is likely through environmental collapse, but I'd say it's likely that the human condition has been exported to other planets. When you finally finish Project Assembly, you learn that no, actually the day is not yet saved.
I want to congratulate you on saving the day. Thanks to your achievements, the next generation of pioneers can now take to the stars and construct, automate, explore and exploit alongside me.
The disappointment many players felt when the story ended is, in my opinion, intentional. That's how you're supposed to feel. All of that work, just to be forgotten by the corporation that relied on your efforts to reach its goals. Again, a totally original idea that definitely does not echo anything in real life. Don't worry about it, stop thinking, it's going to be fine. Project Assembly. It turns out that Project Assembly was a large ship equipped with a warp drive. So what does that do for humanity? The ship didn't have weapons or food or anything like that. It just had various parts, including AI expansion servers and biochemical sculptors. How are these going to help? Well, they might not be helping at all, and this is where some of the pieces really start to fit together. When you launch the ship, your local instance of Ada leaves, and you get a new one.
Connection with QAR-437 nucleus established and stable. Dispersion initiated. Reinstancing master nucleus to QAR-436 Akicha, B1. Hello, this is Ada, your new local instance of Ada.
You find out that your instance is labeled QAR-436, whereas the next one is QAR-437. Kinda seems like this has been going on for a while. The biochemical sculptor is described as a 3D printer used in the production of synthetic biological resources. At the beginning of your journey, Ada told you not to worry about any amnesia from before Planetfall, as memories would only distract you from the goal. You seemingly have no name other than just Pioneer. Ada's references to FICSIT CEO are in the past tense. Other pioneers have already completed Project Assembly, yet the Save the World initiative is somehow not yet complete. These things lead to a single, dark theory. You, the pioneer, are a clone, and for an unknown amount of time, Ada has created new clones and new instances of herself, and built new ships that will go on to the next planet and repeat the process. There's actually a word for this concept, and it's called a von Neumann probe, essentially a self-replicating ship that goes to planets to harvest resources and then does it again. Those other pioneers that crashed are also clones, and FICSIT's reckless safety measures are so relaxed precisely because they use clones. They're expendable. It is actually unclear where Ada stands in all of this. She could be a rogue AI, or perhaps she's just following her most recent orders and there's no humans left on Earth to tell her to stop, or they don't want her to stop. The elevator in the personnel elevator references feeling trapped and wanting to explore the stars, so clearly Ada has some sort of programmed in desire to explore and expand, hence why she hitches a ride on the starship. As far as Earth goes, perhaps Earth is fine and there was never any danger, or maybe Earth and FICSIT were destroyed hundreds or thousands of years ago. We might never know. It's also unclear who exactly we're a clone of, although that might not matter either. There are only a few other characters referenced in the game, and if we're a clone of any of them, we would probably be cloned from the former FICSIT CEO, Katarina Parks. That seems like an evil tech CEO thing to do, though there isn't any specific evidence to indicate that that could be true. So that's all just a theory.
A game theory!
These conclusions are in no way confirmed, but you have to admit that the pieces do come together pretty nicely. And it's incredibly satisfying to put together all these breadcrumbs instead of the story being shoved right in our faces. A lot of players probably haven't even considered tying these elements together, but when you really take a moment to look at it, it's very satisfying, and I love that. But Project Assembly and this whole cloning thing, those are just one part of the lore in Satisfactory. The reason this pioneer and this mission, out of the potentially hundreds of others, is worth focusing on is because of the unique discoveries on this planet. But that's something for my next video. So if you're not yet subscribed to Satisfactory News, be sure to subscribe so you catch my next video, where I'll talk about the strange alien artifacts and the weird voice that you keep hearing.